Howdy, folks. I'm Brian. Here's some Reddit. All right, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Lying About My Star Sign? I'm a 22-year-old female, and I met my boyfriend, a 22-year-old male, on a double date with a work friend and his boyfriend. My friend's boyfriend brought up our star signs. I didn't know what mine was, so I lied and said Pisces. My boyfriend said Scorpio, and the other guy told us how we were Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. I am a huge old movie fan, so I gushed over it completely. One double date we did, my friend's boyfriend put on Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And ever since, my boyfriend and I, and the other two, call us Dick and Liz. Our first Halloween together, we dressed up as them, even though we were stuck inside. I've gotten him into classic films now too. Anyway, my boyfriend really doesn't know much about astrology besides his own sign, and the reason why we call each other Dick and Liz has sort of been forgotten. Up until yesterday, at least. My boyfriend made a post about it, and my friend's boyfriend texted him, "That means that I'm an Aquarius." My boyfriend asked why I lied about my star sign, and I told him I really didn't want to stilt the conversation. He says he really didn't care about astrology and it's not that big of a deal, but our thing as a couple is now based on a lie. He said I should have brought it up as soon as we started calling each other Dick and Liz. I don't want to change it. I think it's cute. I apologized and he said it wasn't that big of a deal, especially not a breakup worthy one. He just thinks it's stupid that I lied. My friend's boyfriend is now upset at me for making him look like an idiot. Even my friend messaged me to tell me that I was being a jerk. I was tempted to respond with, "No, I'm Liz. LOL. Am I a jerk?" I guess there's a pun that you won't get if you use the language there. Now I'm getting it. Even my friend messaged me to tell me that I was being a dick. Okay. I mean, that was funny, actually. I'm very slow on the uptake. Hey, what can I say? I don't make the puns. I just read them. So, yeah, OP, I'm gonna have to say that you're a little bit of a jerk here, but, whatever. That's life sometimes. This wasn't a big a deal-breaking type of lie, and it was a stupid lie to come up with at the moment, but you were afraid of, stilting the conversation and, having things kind of, not necessarily go smoothly, and so you just used the small white lie. I'm kind of on the impression that white lies, you probably shouldn't tell them, but if it really didn't hurt, and it's only now catching up with you, then is it really that big of a deal? I think they're kind of jerks for making a bigger deal out of it than what it needs to be. So yeah, some people are really into astrology. Some people aren't, and it seems that you're not really into astrology, but it was something that was fun, and it kind of gave you a little bit of a, something to build the relationship on. But again, I don't know. Probably not a good thing to lie about, but, whatever. You're the jerk for lying about something so silly. Oh, I don't know, but my birthday is on blank. And you look it up. It's weird that you'd lie about something, and based on that lie, have nicknames created and get attached to the results because of a movie couple. He's absolutely right that your thing is based on a complete lie. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Telling My Kids I Plan to Pay Off Their Student Loans? So, first of all, I believe that people don't spend others' money the way they would their own. I think that paying for your own things helps you to understand their worth and cost. I have two adult children, Susan, 26-year-old female, and Emily, a 25-year-old female, with my husband. We do okay for ourselves, but we don't have a ton of disposable income. We told our kids in high school that we do not have enough money to pay for their college. We can help with signing loans, and they can live with us rent-free as long as they are in some type of school, but we wouldn't be able to give them money directly. We talked about how whatever they do, they need to make sure it's worth the cost to them, either because they will make good money when they graduate or because it's their passion. Susan tried to keep her student loans as low as possible by going into a community college and living at home for 2 years before transferring to a school that she really wanted, saying that it wasn't worth going into more debt when she can accomplish the same thing for less money. Emily was less concerned and went to a school that she wanted to from the start, and claimed that it was worth it for the full college experience. Susan graduated with $20,000 in student debt, and Emily graduated with $60,000. Now that both kids are done with school and are living on their own, me and my husband decided to sell our current house and get a smaller one. There was enough profit to fully pay off of both girls' student loans and have some left over for renovations and retirement savings. I had always planned to do this, but because I wanted the kids to at least pay for some of their own school, and because you never know what can happen in life, I did not tell my kids about the plan. Now Susan is incredibly mad. She said that had she known that I was going to pay off their loans, she would have just gone to the schools that she wanted from the beginning. I feel like if it wasn't worth $60,000 of her money, why is it suddenly worth $60,000 of mine? Susan thinks I should split the money and they each get $40,000 instead. But I wanted them to be able to live without this debt hanging over them, not one daughter in debt while the other with $20,000 in disposable income. Susan has complained to my family and they are split. Some are saying that I'm punishing Susan for being smart with her money, while others feel that Susan is being unreasonable and should be happy that I'm paying off her loans. All right, OP. I can say that while I agree with a lot of your philosophy here, I kind of disagree with your execution. And for that, I'm going to have to say that you're a bit of a jerk here. So the issue is that you're giving one daughter, $60,000 and the other daughter $20,000. So that is a huge disparity in how much that you're giving them. And in a way, you are punishing Susan for being responsible. She wanted to get the degree in as cheap of a way as possible, and she knew that this was going to disadvantage her over the long run if she had more college debt. So she went for a cheaper path because she knew that she didn't want to accumulate extra debt. Whereas Emily, she was able to have the full college experience, and she doesn't have to worry about, the consequences of that. So really, you're paying one daughter $60,000 for making a potentially bad financial decision, and one daughter $20,000 for making a potentially good financial decision. And you're right, she should be grateful that you're paying off her college, and I don't think that she's ungrateful that you're paying off her college. But again, you're putting her you kind of put her at a disadvantage in some ways too by not letting her go to the college that she wanted to from the start. I mean, there's a lot more to college than just kind of the end result of the degree. There's also the, climate, there's, collaboration with people, networking. That's the word I was looking for. So Emily may actually benefit a whole lot more from her $60,000 education than your other daughter, Susan, and Emily may end up having more income as a result of it over a long period of time. So you may have actually stilted Susan financially for much longer, especially if you pay off if you pay off all of Emily's debt. So now Emily may be able to get a better job with higher wages and, have far more disposable income than, for instance, Susan. And that may very well disadvantage Susan. So I just don't know. I think that in this particular case, you're blatantly favoring one daughter over the other, and I can understand why Susan would be hurt. You're the jerk. Give them both the same amount of money, please. One received a better education and a joyful life, and you're trying to punish the other for being responsible. Pay off the $40,000 for one and give the other one $20,000 in addition to paying off their debt. It would be really unfair for you not to do this, and your kids might be mad forever. All right, folks, we've reached our last letter for the evening. Our final letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling My Wife a Hypocrite? Me, a 40-year-old male, and my wife, a 43-year-old female, have 3 kids, a 17-year-old male, a 17-year-old female, and a 12-year-old female. The older 2 are twins. My son is gay, and my wife doesn't hate him for it. She hasn't said anything wrong or threatened to kick him out. Well, at least not for the gay bit. But she does act like it's an annoyance or an inconvenience. Earlier that day, we, the whole family, except the 12-year-old, well, then that's not the whole family, right? Everyone but one person isn't the whole family. I'm just being picky. We're watching a movie that had both of the twins' favorite actors. When my daughter's favorite came on screen, she made a comment of how attractive she thought he was. He looks good in a suit. My wife said nothing. 20 minutes later, my son's favorite came on, and he made a similar comment. I forgot how good he looks in this movie. However, this time, my wife rolled her eyes and made a loud, over-the-top sigh. If I'm being honest, I'm sick and tired of how she treats our son and wanted to call her out for this BS. So I asked her what's wrong. She danced around the topic for a few minutes before blurting out that our son didn't have to be so gay on purpose. I reminded her that our daughter did the same thing about 20 minutes ago, and she wasn't being too straight. I then called my wife a hypocrite and left. Almost immediately, both twins also left and went to their rooms. My son flashed me an apologetic smile on the way up. I know my wife doesn't hate our son, and I really feel bad for yelling at her and ruining the movie for the kids, and I could have just ignored the eye roll and moved on, but I can't stand how she treats our son sometimes. Am I the jerk? Alright, OP. I don't think that you're a jerk for calling her out. If you yelled at her, I think that's a jerky thing to do. It shouldn't actually escalate to yelling, and that's not a healthy way to resolve a conflict. But calling her out and, presenting this in the way that you did, I think was extremely fair. If your daughter wasn't being too straight, when she made her comment, then why would your son be too gay when he makes his comment? I mean, the thing is that they both made very, very similar comments, and if she wasn't rolling her eyes at your daughter, then she shouldn't really have been rolling her eyes at your son either. That's just kind of my point of view. But again, I'm going to say that you shouldn't have resorted to yelling. I think that was inappropriate, but calling her out and, I think standing up for your son was a good thing. I mean, your son is probably going to face a lot of adversity in his life, and it's going to be good for him to know that someone has his back. Your daughter's going to face a lot of adversity too, and I would hope that you would stick up for her as well in a similar situation. So, but, the thing is that we have to address inequalities as we see them, and in this particular case, you addressed it when you saw it. So, absolutely not the jerk. This was potentially a defining moment that could have made your son feel like he couldn't express himself to people in fear of being judged because kids notice things like this. That insecurity would have stuck with him, but now he knows you have his back and won't tolerate judgment from anyone, including your wife, and that you will protect him. You did the right thing by calling it out in an effort to shut it down. You're a good dad. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching. And, sometimes we have disagreements, and sometimes, I've seen people who don't agree with my judgments in here. And I just want to remind folks that I'm not an all-powerful, all-knowing person, and sometimes, my judgments might not be right. These are just my opinions, and, if you enjoy them, then, I'm fine with that. And if you disagree with me, I'm fine with that as well. I try to be as respectful as possible when it comes to people's and their, disagreement in my judgments. And, that's life. Sometimes people just don't see eye to eye. Sometimes you just have to agree to disagree and move on. This isn't really spurned by anything in particular. I just kind of wanted to say it. I just want people to know that I do appreciate hearing your points of view, even if they conflict with mine. I'm not out here to say that I have all the answers and that my truth is absolute or anything silly like that, because it isn't. The world is far too complicated, and sometimes there are just things that we won't agree on. So, thanks. Thanks for being understanding. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow, where we're going to read even more Reddit, which is pretty freaking awesome if you ask me. Take care. Bye.